Ula.
Ayine.
Ula.
Ayine.
Ya re nela pula. Gale re ikutlwa le se ke bela complain yana. Re re itsa ha. Ke nna Kgosatsana. Dipuo Toto from the Northern Cape. It lay all the way from Northern Cape. Go attend this media briefing. Ke nna setlogolo sa ga Kgosi Toto morena o ntšhašitse ga gore mabitla a leng Robben Island ka marena nna ntatemolo ka ka motho to this day ke bona ba ne ba launcha the Lengerbergo ya 1897 bo Kgosi Galeshiwe na re malome go ntatemolo wa ka ke bona le bo Kgosi Janki ka masaitingane Northwest re ba hurutsi ba ga motlhago so re ba hurutsi I'm sure la utlwela gore na le batho ba o tshwang ke ba hurutsi. That's where I come from. Ke batla go hlalosa SARKO pele ke kena go taba ya digital ID because marena mangata ha ba utlwisisi ka baka la ke nahana gore ya pele ke pain e re nang le yona e historically ya bobedi ke taba ya betrayal marena kona formeng ANC ba Roma baruti ba Roma gore baruti re kopa le lo latanaga because ha re kutlela go history I normally say SARKO e qadile ka 1659 that's when SARKO was born because the first war e etsahetseng was the Khoi War ya 1659 ele marena a lwanela naga le di communities tsa bona. The last war was the Mbambata Rebellion in 1906. That was the last one. Baruti ka hobane se ba tseba go ngola le go bala. Di missionary di barutile. Ba approacha marena ba re this approach ya gore batho ba rona ba sho ka bongata go ntse yana. Let's try negotiations. Marena a Roma baruti bishop a ba Roma gore ka hobane lona se le tseba go ngola. Ibile le tseba go bala tsamayang he le gona ge le marena ga kgotsofalla gore setšhaba se nne se shwe ka nnete madi a makana-kana a tsholwa a ke le yeng lo latanaga one mandate e marena a ifileng baruti ha ne ba forma African National Congress. African National Congress was formed ke marena lefatshe linkiwe mareneng not matsong a di politicians not matsong a government mareneng so that's why ke re SARKO qadile ka 1659 because ntwa ya lefatshe ya marena started then it is continuing because baruti ba le ba re betraya re le marena gore marena eo you must put it in the forefront of your head gore baruti they betrayed us because they didn't carry the mandate ya to bring back our land. They didn't do that. How checka the president is ANC from 2012. O.R. Tambo was the first president to riskaba Muruti wa ANC. He was the first. The ones before O.R. Tambo nele baruti kaofela the presidents of ANC. Barung so we started this organization ya SARKO. We are not politicians. What is SARKO? What happened is Bola declared on 20 land claims. Everybody must go and claim their land and everything. I get submission and all that. The only technicality there in Elehore, the claim is from 2013. If your land was taken before 1913, you cannot claim. Marena kaofela ngetu land before 1913. So the Native Land Act literally was diminishing Borena, was killing Borena as the owner stands. Now the very people ba romme or ba lo lata land, when they got 2/3 majority, the first clause they should have changed was the Native Land Act of 1913. They did not. I normally make an example of our first president, the late President Mandela. He made his claim, ya land ya Bathembu, ka period ya Thabo Mbeki, not when he was the president, when he had the power. That on its own tells you of the betrayal. Because he had the power, the president. He could have claimed the land ya bona Bathembu. He did not. And when he claimed, he didn't claim Galbizola Hai. He claimed Mega the grandson. That's a statement, definitely. You don't need anything beyond that to have a clear understanding of the betrayal that we received. From Batbar Marume, by the way. So, what happened is the claims they ceased to be processed because Mahua got 2012. Baleba Kenya case they won't return the land without compensation. So it's a Kenya that case, but the whole process, land here stopper. They don't administrate anything. Have I accepted the new claims? Have I processed the claims to they don't finalize. Yaba is stopile from 2012. Is stopile that process. Now here's another flip side. The claim processing, boholo ba batho, bo qadile ho etsa di claims ka 1998. 96 it was declared, but process ya or who claim was never clear. Today I'm not sure if I'm clear ka process ya claim land. It was never clear. It was say claim for your land, but the process was not clear. That was proposed. So those that managed to understand the process, but already judgment from court to say this is your land, take the land and occupy it. However, land reforms made sure for labor wearing the judgment, they don't occupy the land. With a judgment of court, still you're not occupying your land. How like the law why but must occupy land? There is no clear answer. There is administration here change. Minister is never here. There is a protocol. There is this, there is this, there is that. But the truth is, even if you have a judgment, if you do not apply the judgment, 30 years a failure, that judgment falls off. So those that are sitting with the judgment, that 1998, at 2028, it's already 3 years. So those judgments, they fall off. So it was a strategic, systematic way, ya senya nako, or reverlo fitla 30 years. Kima tubana ba rummenga ke ba mongwa ke gone go ga e o le skela ile ba o roma motho a fitla mane o etsa ntho tsa hae. But when fast forward, we realized that is the problem. We then said, Napohai, where I came from last night, I arrived here in Joburg from there. Community large is a tribal office. Because I'm sure you are aware everybody is going to Kuruma because it's a mining area. It's booming, the Northern Cape. Most of our minerals, our total South Africa has got 46 minerals. The majority of them are sitting on our land. That is why Bokoshi Khaleshiwe, Lebo Janki and everybody, they were fighting like mad. Because they knew or what is underneath their ground is worth it. Now, Renalidi mine is 22, where I come from. We are sitting at unemployment here 82.86%. With 22 mines. Community which is a tribal office. But I don't know for an useless. Kadi mine tseka. Unse rona re sotleya hakana which was the fact. Now I was called here from Gauteng. I was in Gauteng then. I've just relocated back home to go and fix things, but I was here at that time. I went back. I realized it doesn't help because you know the history. The best thing, let's work together as a community and challenge this thing. That's when we decided that we are going to form an organization, it's an NPO. Re-recruit the Marena across the country because Marena across the country are having the same problem that we are having. Then we registered the organization, we recruited Marena Rabatlisa on board. It was we started obviously I also be confident. Make sure for legal consultation is like the lawyer. Our initial plan was case. Land compensation. Regular case. The government land without compensation. That was the initial plan. I react plan ya bona se re di lawyer lo consult jwale hore ba re thuse he or how do we go about a case re batlang go bula against the state. The advocate was very honest with us. Are ke a le tseba ile halena le tšhelete mare I'm not even going to charge you consultation fee. Ke tlo le jwetsa di nnete up front. You have lost the case even before you start. How? Kanjani? The Native Land Act. You guys are not eligible to claim. So if you take this case, that is where you're going to be beaten. The claim the claim process before, but after 1930. So haleta le claimer lele mo court ya rona ya constitutional court erikentseng constitution in the Native Land Act ha no ba against molao. So you can't. So you've already lost. Raroke will go to civil court. Constitutional court because the constitution is civil court. It's Roman Dutch law. The very person getting land will be proceeding over your case. So you've lost. So we then realized our challenge are the laws of the country. Now we are in a democratic state since 1994. The only way to change the laws of the country, besides referendum, is to go balloting or challenger 2/3 majority, which is a mountain to climb. We then decided to let's go and register for IEC Rona. Now Rona area for IEC. Retolata Marena. Re Marena. I can't go ANC because Nelsa Ngola Loba. Today you can read and write. Go there yourself and go and fight those legislatures. I can assure you, if we were part of the government today, digital ID before President they are going to declare. But because we are outside, they make decisions. We are proactive. We are reactive. And I'm saying, let us be reactive. Let us not be proactive. Let us challenge. Let us be part and sabotage there and refuse there and make sure that is the purpose of SARKO. To say stop sending people. Go there yourself because you have history that shows you or you've been betrayed. So if people have betrayed you, leave them, go yourself. Besides, they led their troops. never born in the front seat by the troops. So it's about time that we stand up real. But because it's a democratic country, it's want to vote to where against into that system. Here is an organization, we register Riaya. So that is SARKO. I think I've explained it. I've always said it's not a political organization. We are not politicians. We just registered with the IEC so that we can be able to change what we want to change, not outside. If people are fighting here and we're now country, you must wait for the outcome and you must accept it because you were not part of the fight. So if you want to change the outcome, you better be in here and be part of the fighting. If you are standing there, whatever decision so I'm saying, how being active. How being active. How Murena? Your community knows Murena Wabona. But the Kgosatsana Act, Erring Marena, has a government thing. That's a lie. Even there is nothing called Kgosatsana. There is no nation between Kgosatsana. I can see this Kgosatsana is okay because it's an abbreviation. Kgosatsana. It's an abbreviation. When the Hollanders arrived here, at the first war, 1659, the ambassador Hana Molla Morenawa Hae Kwana Holland, Uile a abbreviator. Are the Cap, which is K, okay? Holland, which is H, the Cap Holland, orientated, meaning people that are from Holland, indigenous people. The Cap Holland, orientated indigenous people, are fighting with the sun, the Southern African natives. So Haona, a nation, everyone Kgosatsana. After that, by the Kgosatsana Act, Hona mo, some things are not done correctly here, and stand up. So, Act live part of governance. To me, it's a crazy act because you are governing your people. As Morena, you are a governor of your nation. So when you are told you cannot be part of government, that's a contradiction. Yeah? It's a contradiction because you are a governor. You are governing your community. You are being told by politicians, sorry, you cannot be part of government when you are a governor. I mean, really, guys. I can read nine and it's just an organization. Marena and say Marena we don't have a manifesto because we are not politicians. We just talk about our land and the dignity of as Africans. That's it. That is SARKO. Now Ricky can having a digital ID. Yes? Now how do we get about digital ID? Our leaders every year by Davos, every year without fail, February we were Davos, World Economic Forum, where your elites, those are the ones that goes there. Ask any media house, they are not allowed inside. How can the media, the interviews, they do them outside? Or the discussions there, inside, we are fed about one. But this is the gist of the matter. We are working on Agenda 2030. What is Agenda 2030? Agenda 2030 is that they have to reset Barebolai, depopularization. Bastatile ka unka di monkey ba etsa HIV. We are genetically strong. I normally say to people, how about our bonor bomang rona? I'm talking about melanated or nabatuba. Whatever color your skin is out, the soil. Your skin color, it's like the soil. Yes. These ladies, what ba etsa di-hairpiece, ba etsa manala fake, everything is just fake. O ipotsa gore mosadi ya original go feel because hey ke manala fake, ke moriri o fake, ke sefatlhego, ke makeup. Hey, bontate le na le mathata gore le thola jwang original di-faking tse kaofela. Now, I normally say to people, ask yourself, why is your skin exactly the same color as the soil? Ask yourself, why moriri wa hao o le di-strings? We are the only people in the whole universe. Ke gona fela ba moriri o jwala. Ke gona tse batho se ba kenya di-hairpiece go go be motelele. Mara ke tjho ona the original one. Go ibitsa hantle ke tshaba go ka fara. A ke re ke ka ga marena ke smart. Ha ke na le community ke free lona ke le tshaba. Why re na le ka fara? E le rona fela ba nang le ka fara. Why e le rona fela ba sena dinta tlho? Ha ke le ipotsa dipotso tseo. Gore why kada ya ka tsona le mobu? Why moriri wa ka le ka fara? Why ke sena dinta? A ke re mako a re bitsa di baboons. Ke ne ke jwetse mogadi wa ka who is 6 years old. Ka re wa tsena ke nna. Ha ba qala ba go babu. O ba jwetse gore ha re ya di-zoo re lo sheba ditshweu. Re kala ka o sheba skin sa tshweu se tshwana le sa magogo. Re shebe moriri wa tshweu o tshwana le magogo. Ba na le moriri mona dihlong dikamone ke moriri all over. O shebe melomo ya bona ke ya ditshweu. So between wena le ngwana le gowa tshweni ke mang? You don't even need scientific proof. We have found the zoo. You don't sheba the features tsa ditshweu. O sheba magogo identical. O tla believe evolution gore ka nnete bona ba tswa mo o na le lebaka ke tlo kena di-reasons tsa gore why in the research tlang le batlang ke le qoqela ke la le qoqela but ke di-questions tse ke reng tsa mo ipotsang tsona. But the issue is magoa hore ba bane le anything they must steal from us. First of all, they stole our way of life. How can a Bible, Bible, you will see it is our way of living. You love your neighbor as you love yourself. We never had old age homes, Rona, because nobody abandoned their parents. We never had children massaging. Everybody hana kena motseng ona iso go kgosi, ono sna stranger, ono na le masimu a rwa le nanga kgosi for bahlolohadi, dikhutsana, batho ba hlokang aseda. Ha motho a kena motseng na iso go kgosi. So that is our way of living the Bible. We just didn't write it down. Europe, it was an ice. The first Europeans to visit Africa never to Russia. That is why Putin only proved Moranajeso was a black man. Because the first Europeans to visit Africa were from Russia. They went in there without a culture, without a religion. They went out of there calling themselves Hebrews. Sebanale culture, sebanale religion, sebanmotsi bophelo ba rona. What they did, they twisted it. They became Christianity. What is it in fact that? It's Christendom. Because bankile bophelo ba rona, babu changer, babu twister, or babu re-enslave ka bona. They knew very well, we are people that strongly believe in God. We are believers. So they just had to get us there. And they did that brilliantly. But we rebelled. Some of us realized this trick. And we said, we're not going to be Christians. We'll remain with our African, particularly Marek. We will remain within our African way of doing things. That was the first way they were eliminated when they were converting us from Bophelo ba rona ba re jwetse ka this Bible ba ngotseng ka 1538 at the Nicaea conference. where they called Africans again to come and say, in this book called the Bible today. So that's why I say the Bible is not the gospel truth. It is our way of living. We must live but use it for what it is. A way of living a life, a pure, a life harmoniously and peacefully. But if you need a word of God, go deep within yourself. So now that was the first time with the intention of eliminating us. They went further. They started creating the illnesses to eliminate us. Remember, if renally 90% which are Africans, really 10% rule this 90%. What is the weapon?
To cut the number down.
Is to control them through their mind. Mind control. So that's the only way that the 10% can rule the 90%, is to control their minds. And that's exactly what they did. They started controlling our minds. Even then, we resisted to be controlled. We resisted to be controlled. Mind. They then moved further by the disease. So, and 9, 10, 11. Two, 3 maximum. So but COVID was the first one. It was supposed to really eliminate us because they had a 2030 agenda. So they were coming close to Hore. Record 2020, we have 10 years to go. And the agenda is to make sure that the elite banali banker, they've already created the bankers. They're simply going to go into the bankers, now, by Kenya COVID, still we resisted. Was it 2? 2. It was 2. It was 2 million. How did they know? It was the target, which they didn't reach. Now, Ryan Topo, that's 2024. Okay? 2024, this term is the last 5 years before 2030. So they have to implement whatever Ebatwanets may implemented to achieve their 2030 agenda. Now, but we get digital ID. What digital ID does, it's a chip they'll be controlling you by computer. If Babata or Mabula, they're just going to press a button. So whatever it's just the press of a button. That is digital ID. So, banally number again to say who are going to be our slaves when we are starting the new 6,000. Every 6,000 years, the universe must reset itself. Planet Earth is malfunction. I'm sure you will winter. Pula every day ka winter. Planet Earth is malfunctioning. And then just like the Bible in the last days, for revelation. Okay. So we are living in that space, a revelation, where they are now making sure we must take the mark of the beast. If you don't take the mark, you cease to exist. So if you are a pure person, and you want to live by the word of God, you want to live harmoniously with your members of your family and your communities, they want to turn you into a monster, if I can put it that way. So digital ID ha hona anything ya yona ho ya ka nna. Akere ba bang ba tla bana le dihlo ba le bana le yona. Ho ya ka nna ha hona anything ya digital ID e leng hore e ntle. Bank account ya hao, but they will even know what you are thinking. The only thing about is to get into your mind. But they knew to control, but you need to control their data. How did they get their data? Got 2020 these are the free tests. So test our own COVID. They were taking our specimen. Balo collect data. More linking no, data ever but they've collected it by 2020. They have it into their systems. So how are you getting a digital ID? Your ID to identify. The specimen tags are how to buy in 2020. You go identify because the ID numbers are all. How about a test? So they already have your data. So how long to we nahana basa because the chip is inside you. So how hona privacy at all. But that is going to fall off digital ID. Anything we nahana, if we nahana wena, wana jere batla lefatshe la rona beke. Ka o fela rona ba tlo pressa fela button, ona ba batla lefatshe. Date, so we can't allow that. We cannot allow digital ID. Thank you very much.